right, before we get into it, let's do some introductions.
Well, we'll get there. I just wanted to get the live stream going so people could see at home too. So the live stream's going. Welcome everybody to the live stream. What you guys can see up here and on the live stream is in the bottom corner there. That's how you're going to vote. So there's a phone number, or if your camera can grab that QR code, bring that up. You're going to text 1 for Kevin, 2 for Chelsea. We'll get into that a little more. Scott, why don't you give us the introductions and who's who?
All right, we're going to get into this, guys. So you guys understand, this is definitely the most advanced aquascape Aquashella has ever done on the saltwater side. Normally, sometimes we get into where we have carrots, rocks, more advanced shapes. These contestants have complete raw materials. You can see them lined all the way up when it comes down to the dry rock. They are given the absolute basics. You see both of these guys, both of them have as much as they have to lose between tools to break these up and sand. We're going to give them 45 minutes to work on this project to give the best aquascape possible that they could for a saltwater aquarium. We have Chelsea Hansen on the left-hand side. Give her a big round of applause. We have Kevin Berna on the right-hand side. Give him a big round of applause. Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! And Kevin is a returning champ. He's ready for this. He wants to take it back. Paul, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We're going to see what happens.
Wait, hang on.
Wait.
I know you're a newcomer to the scene here, but we need more confidence on what's going to happen. We're going to crush them. We're going to see our enemies destroyed in front of us. I hear Conan this. I'm going to be on your team because clearly you need some energy over here. So.
I got Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's the reigning world champion, so you know Scott can do that job.
Listen, he's the machine.
The
He sleeps for a reason.
Alright, well, this 45 minutes, so let's get this thing rolling. Are you guys ready? Ready? Jeff, you ready down there with the timer? We got super fancy. Wait till you see what comes up on the screen. So, alright guys, you're going to have your pick of whatever's here, and we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go! Hey, look at that, there's a timer on the screen. I don't have to hold my phone anymore. Technology, you gotta love it. We got like the actual tape measures now. Alright, so what's going on over here? What are you guys seeing? Who here is a saltwater person? Alright, there you go. Alright, so a lot of you guys are probably freshwater reptile, or just curious of what's going on here. If you've never scaped a tank before, what you're seeing them do now is actually mark out the shape of the tank on the table. They're going to lay out, manipulate the rocks, figure out the base of their scoop by the footprint of the tank. That way they're not spending a bunch of time in here and then knock a rock over the break the glass or anything. They're going to know what they have to work with right here on the table. Great tip for at home when you're aquascaping, no matter what it is, get a piece of cardboard or something, put it down the floor, take off the tank size or make the cardboard the size of the tank, and then go ahead and start laying your scape out on it. It's all over.
I'm just letting you do your thing, bitch. You do you.
Kevin over the tape. Yeah, you guys can see it on the screen now, so. Just laying there at her footprint. Got his measurements, he's going to take that out now.
So, Kevin, why not explain to us what you're doing here?
So I'm trying to mark the perimeter so I'll know the exact dimensions of the inside of the tank. So I won't overbuild it and get an instance where there's not going to be enough room for the rocks to kind of have clearance around there for, you know, magnet or your hand work, that kind of thing. Really just mapping it out so I know what I'm working with.
Alright, so this is different too. This is the first time the contestants have been actually mic'd up, so I don't have to get in their face to start with. Chelsea, you're the newcomer here. Why don't you, as you're scaping, don't take away from your time, tell people a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you do, how you got here. How did you get onto the world stage of professional saltwater aquascaping competitions?
That is a question that I still can't answer. I've been doing scaping for quite a while. It was kind of a daddy-daughter thing that I did growing up, and I stayed in the hobby. And I now own a maintenance company, but this is kind of the art side that I just love doing. And those that value it can understand it is an art. So I think both Kevin and I are pretty passionate about it. We kind of get into our zone when we're doing this a little bit. So the idea of talking everybody through it is something I'm gonna work on, but we'll get there.
We'll figure it out together. We're a team here. Or are you just gonna put your AirPods in and zone out?
They died.
Oh,
yeah, I got a little pre-hype music, but that was it. It died. I didn't want you guys to have to hear what I was listening to.
All right, what's Kevin doing? I see Kevin's blue and stuff. He's already board. Well, you're probably wondering why there's a big piece of plywood here. Well, this is to smash rocks with, as you see a hammer coming out. Boom.
Yeah, to get a really intricate structure, I like to break them down into a bunch of micro pieces so I can literally construct the rock to whatever shape I want. Hopefully I won't bust my hand.
I think that not just want to have like a smash hand, have to continue one-handed. Nobody here is forfeit.
Definitely not.
You'd be like the boot shows when they cut a finger and they call the medic and come out, wrap the hand up. I don't know if you actually have a medic here, do we? Go where we might have. This is the landscape of aquascaping contest with hammers and chisels and tools. This is a hammer that escaped a lot of saltwater aquariums.
Actually, that didn't use much of the water, so I probably stuck it on the airplane.
That's Kevin's
We're all in
confidence.
That's my backup hammer. It might be defective.
He just sent me like a kid's toolkit picture and said, "This is what I'm bringing you," like plastic.
That hammer's got like 2 swings left in the hand. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was the good one, right?
Sorry, it's good.
Alright, so we have a lot of time in the clock. It's a very serious thing we'll be doing, so let's talk to you guys a little bit. Who set their first Aquashella? Who's here yesterday? Alright, who's coming tomorrow? That guy! Who's the party coming?
That's the guy with big brains doing it.
That's the guy who doesn't know if he shows up tomorrow. He gets a broom and a garbage now. He helps clean this mess up. Alright, so we got a lot of freshwater people here. If you're a freshwater person, why are you here watching this? Who's a freshwater person? What are you doing here? Fair? That's a fair. Alright, I'll take that. What are you guys doing here? I'm not talking to you. I said, who is that freshwater owner?
No, he's right now. How come you guys freshwater are interested in salt? That's what I really want to know.
Good question.
I'm telling you, because the amount, there's so many freshwater people that watch saltwater and they're very intrigued by it. For us, what you guys do plants, corals, listen, I'm telling you, corals are awesome. They're an absolute blast. And know that those are all animals is amazing. It's one of the real things.
It really is. Let's ask the question people that aren't familiar with corals are they happy to live in a tank?
I would think so.
Why?
Aquaculture corals do amazing work.
What do you contribute to?
I just feel like over time, over years spent on these little guys.
I was going to go when they don't have a central nervous system, so probably you're unaware of where they are, but that's where I was headed with that one.
Sure it was. I'm sure it was.
So let's give our shout outs here. So definitely carrot seed for the sand, the rock. Did they do the flat rock too? Yeah, that'd be all carrot seed stuff. Planet Aquarium with the tanks here. These are new tanks for us. What are these? This is the Crystalline Reef Aquarium, 24 by 20 by 21 cube-ish thing. Goes to overflow in the back. No sump, but it would have a sump down there if there was one. some holes for things, slots for other things. So there you go. That's the basic of a saltwater aquarium tank. Any questions?
That's it. That's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it. It's a box with a hole and a thingy.
That's it. With a thing on the bottom.
On the bottom. Another box that goes under the box. Extended boxes.
What's the term?
So who's seen one of these escape offs before? One person. Well, yeah, yesterday. Yeah, that's my guy over there. When are we getting drinks again? What do you want? I mean, we got access to tons of the farm, for God's sakes. Fix the address. Get a couple drinks and we'll talk.
How much is this stuff you're doing at the end of the show? That's what I want to know.
Well, because this is such a serious aquascape, I can't just start handing out rocks until people really get picked out there. But if you've never seen it before, I do like to just give away rocks, and people seem to like them for some reason. So stay tuned. We have a leftovers. Yeah, let's say. Freshwater guys like to take whatever, with all the rocks look exactly the same. Well, they're not around. Got a question? What's the question?
Well, what you want to know is exactly what is Kevin doing? Why is he gluing what he's gluing? What is he putting together? Kevin, want to get into this?
So I'm using the gel super glue along with the BSI Instaset, which allows me to get it to lock the rock in place, and then I'll do a secondary layer and build that up. The accelerator will harden it almost immediately, so I can flip it around and move that. And then when you use this rock dust product mixed in with the glue, it gives it more of a seamless look. So it actually appears like it's just one rock, even though this is actually already about 5 different pieces.
Kevin, when you're doing this, do you prefer certain glues over others? Like, is there one for this type of aquascaping that you choose?
This is my glue of choice, the Core Effects from Two Little Fishes. I mean, I really like the gel. It helps fill gaps, and you know, I definitely go heavy with this stuff, but it does the job. And with the accelerator, it runs really, really quickly. And the biggest thing I like is really just the ability to kind of fill and bridge gaps without having to put a bunch of extra pieces of shim rocks and things like that in there, mainly to save time.
Do you feel like when you're using the glue, you have to use the accelerator to keep the shapes going? Or do you feel like it would fall apart without it?
I mean, if you wanted to win this contest, you probably have to use the accelerator. But I mean, realistically, if you're patient and you're doing this at home, you could just bond a few over a series of days and wait for the glue to harden, or you know, come back every few hours, get a few extra pieces, that kind of thing. It's at the end of the day, it's just super glue, so it's going to bond about that same pace.
Okay, when you're working on it, so you already do the diameter, can you pre-picture the final outcome in your head ahead of time, or does it just kind of come to you as you start putting pieces together?
Honestly, in my opinion, you try to get something created 100% in your head, you're just going to frustrate yourself. So you don't want to be too strict in that regard. You want to have a general idea of what you're doing, but be kind of fluid with it and let the rock speak to you and just kind of go with it. And you know, I have a pretty good trained eye on this stuff, so it helps. I can just sort of visualize it piece by piece, and as it comes together, just do some finishing touches and things like that and get everything to tie in well. But no, I don't really have an idea.
Now, I mean, just from here, it was awesome. As fast as you're moving, as quick as you're going, I tell you, it was absolutely amazing. He's making this look easy. This is not easy at all. It's just really showing the skills that he's developed over the years. Kevin, how long have you been doing this for?
Rock structures, probably about 12 years, I'd say.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I made one, I said, hey, I'm never just gonna throw the rocks in the tank again. You know, it's just so much nicer overall. The ability to be able to lift it out if you're trying to move it or to catch a fish. You can make a much more minimal footprint on the sand bed, so the tank runs much cleaner. A lot of times you're gonna get nutrient control, more like what you'd get in a tank that doesn't have sand, but you can still put the sand in there and give it that natural look and keep grasses and jawfish and all sorts of stuff if you choose to do that.
Anyone else is hard, Scott? Using a microphone properly. So people can hear you. All right, so I'm going to lob this one out. Either of you guys, anybody that wants to take this question. So dealing a lot of freshwater scrubs here. We'll go ahead and ask the question, how is it different scaping saltwater from freshwater? Chelsea, you want to take?
I think the first thing that's really obvious is you're looking at one material. We don't have a bunch of plants, we don't have a bunch of substrate. Sure, there's some different sand types, but we are working with one material, so we need to make it look good with white rock. Over to Kevin.
Kevin, back to you. Kevin, you done freshwater at all, or have you really stuck to the real stuff?
I mean, I started with freshwater actually, so that is, I still have a love for that stuff. But once you get into saltwater, I think it kind of takes it to the next level. There's just a lot more to do with it. You know, and for me, I like to tinker with the tank constantly and you know, have different types of corals and species to try out. So it's not as limiting, and I think it's, from a hobby perspective, a little bit more advanced. I mean, I love the planet tanks. Those are definitely something that I would love to get more into again down the road. And I have limited experience on that, but it's definitely something that's interesting. I have mad respect for a lot of the aquascaping those guys do.
Kevin, for somebody that's into planet aquariums now, and they want to get into saltwater, what would you tell them if they want to take that first dive going into saltwater reef tanks?
Well, I mean, if you've done planet tanks, you're already halfway there. You know, you're used to testing water and having to keep things kind of cleaner, maybe using RODI, that kind of thing. So, you know, it shouldn't be a huge transition. And the biggest thing is just get ready to be blown away by all the crazy colors and different species of fish that will be opening up a whole new ocean to you, really.
That's great. And let's think about getting is from top shelf, one of the largest saltwater companies in the world. Amazing thing. And you can see the artwork, the dedication. Chelsea, how do you get out of there?
Say it again.
I'm just checking to see how you make it out. How are you feeling? How's it all working out right now? How you feeling it's going?
I feel like it's the stage is starting to get a little hot. But I feel like I got a good base structure going there, so I'm going to keep rolling with this. I don't want to waste time redoing anything major.
Chelsea, when you're building a scape like this, do you typically know what's going to go in the tank for livestock and corals, and then you build the scape, or you build your scape and let the livestock talk to you after the scape?
So that's actually a good question. The thing with saltwater when we're planning these aquascapes is we really have to plan ahead. You know, plants you can pull out, you can literally trim them down. Coral, calcium base, you're in there with bone cutters, removing half your rock. So it's something that you really need to think about stopping-wise before, as you have your scape, because that's, you know, this is an art fixture, and then you're going to cover it with something that's going to be pretty permanent out there. So I guess another thing to say is, like, a lot of people like to just go really fast on the colonies, just be the colonies. With aquascapes, you want to let it, you know your coral type. Is it encrusting? Is it plating? What's going on here before you place it on your scape, so you don't have regrets later.
There you go. Kevin's in the zone. Yeah, so I don't really back to that freshwater, fresh and saltwater scape, because you're a big freshwater guy too. What in your opinion is the big difference? Like, when you think about like a store, or a tank in your store, you're going to do a salt and fresh side by side. What's your personal process for deciding a scape for her?
For me, it depends what I want. I love fresh water because I know something, I like the white. I like the way it gets green. I love the effects. Where the reef tanks, I love that saltwater, real life avatar look. When I look at that saltwater aquarium, I feel like I'm in Africa. There's nothing else like it. I mean, this is awesome. You gotta get out here playing tanks awesome as well.
Kevin's breathing a little hard over there. It's coming through. Take a breath, man.
That's a huge cartoon character.
I really am.
Alright, so yeah, here's a good one. So you guys are seeing pretty much this very similar rock, but there are very different kinds of rock. If you walk around the show, you'll probably see different stuff with different colors and shapes. And we have branches and tonga rock and all kinds of other stuff. Whoever wants to answer this one, what kind of rock, like, what's the difference between choosing what kind of rock you want? Is there a difference? Does it come down to aesthetics, or why do you choose one rock over another?
So I like to refer to aquascapers as rock nerds. We can look at a rock, like I have a dragon scape that I've done that's over at my booth actually, and I saw the eyes. It was just a rock with holes, and I was like, that's eyes for something. So you see the pieces and you're like, that'll work shape-wise. You have an idea in your head of what you're making, and the rocks just are like puzzle pieces for your artwork.
Is there any consideration to the type of rock for the livestock? Different rocks have different properties, the porosity and all that kind of stuff for filtration or natural growth, or is it really immaterial when you're thinking about it?
I think Kevin and I both kind of agree on this. What's nice about the Marco rock is that it is dry, and I know that scares people, but you're not going to have pests in there, and then you can build these structures for the type of livestock you have. So I am really into like deep water, Antias, basslets. I like overhangs, I like shells. I just did a scape for a client that has massive tanks. So he needs big cage, he needs places for his fish to feel comfortable.
I mean, that's awesome. That's a great answer. Kevin, how do you feel about that? When you're choosing rocks to use for your scapes, how do you choose? How do you pick? What are you looking for?
I personally like the stuff we're using right now just because of the freedom it gives you. You know, you're not restricted to some of the ones that have the purple where you bust them up, it might not look as good. You can really give it more of a seamless look. And the fact that you can break them down and construct caves and all sorts of little hiding places, you're actually able to get it to look a lot more like some of the old school imported natural rocks. And that's definitely a thing I like. There's a lot of people out there who make the really, really minimalist ones. And I mean, I've been down that path, but I've been trying to find that balance where the fish will have a proper ecosystem too and survive. And have lots of good planes for light and coral, so everything there will have success too. And again, having that freedom to manipulate the rock pretty much any way you want. You can plan for where the pumps are going to shoot flow and everything too. So yeah, this Marco stuff's great for that.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. What's up? Yeah, sure. We have 25 minutes left, guys.
Remy, come on up, baby.
Come on, Remy. You're a buddy. Get up here.
Come on, Remy. Come on, hang out.
Morning radio personality in the St. Louis market, Mr. Remy from Bahama Pearls. Big round of applause.
Yeah!
Take the mic that's got the one you use for the what am I doing? I don't know, just talk about stuff. You want to ask questions?
See, I did this, I competed against Kevin.
I'm not going to call it a competition.
Rephrase that. I stood up here when Kevin did things.
There we go. There we go.
You knew what I was thinking about this. I didn't think my skate was that. No, well, now I see like Chelsea's got hers all taped out. He's got his all taped out. They have tools. I had none. These guys are already way above where I was.
Being you've been up here and you felt this, talk to the crowd a little bit about what's going through the competitor's mind while they're up there. I know the Eye of the Tiger, but
I know that each one of these contestants hates being on stage, so I don't 100% know what that feels like, but
Please don't ask me another question. What's the timer at?
that's it. Kevin's like, I just
I
think
guess
it's
not.
You're a winner, I'm not going to
I
chat.
like the commentary. It's great, man.
I mean, I can get Zen if you want.
No.
Please.
Want to leave a little Lama Yoda?
Inhale. And on the exhale, let your eyelids fall.
Listen, we got to keep these people entertained for 23 more minutes, so I don't know, you guys want to do a little Tai Chi, a little stretch, a little... What are you feeling today?
Let's check in with our brains. What's going on in there? Ooh, a lot. Let's turn that off.
So, Remy, give us your impression. Go take a look at what's going on. Give us your impression. Give us your rundown of what you're seeing on each table from your professional opinion as a former pro aquascaper on the Aquashella escape circuit.
Okay, so Chelsea has actually designed Escape for me. If you've seen the Bahama Coral YouTube channel, she actually escaped a 2.5-gallon eco tank for me, my macro algae tank. It's still in there. You can't see the rock escape anymore because I've let the chloroquine go. It's doing its thing, so it's coming up everything. But nothing against Kevin.
This isn't
But
so
I feel like Chelsea, she brings more of an artful eye to her skates. This is going to be, just from what I'm seeing right now, I think it's going to be more of a minimalist, very artsy kind of scape that she's doing. If she can keep it up. Is the glove a part of the scape?
Add some color. We don't have coral, so
That brings a little color in.
that's gonna be, you know what, I'll cover it.
But I think what's cool about what these guys do is they kind of define what rocks should be or what they look like in the ocean. You're probably not going to see a structure like these necessarily in the ocean because they're gluing, they're accelerating, they're making the seams look like they're seamless with sand and things like that. See now Kevin's, it almost looks like if this is how it's going to go in the tank, the aquascape will like bird fish will kind of come through the hip area here.
That's a technical hand gesture for a fish coming through.
But I think that's kind of cool, especially when you've got a smaller tank like this and with weird dimensions. You want to make sure that the fish still have some hiding spaces and things like that. I think that Kevin always does a good job of thinking about where the coral's going to go, where the fish are going to swim, where the pumps are going to shoot the water. So,
I don't think Kevin thinks about it, he just knows. He's just there. He doesn't have to give it consideration, he's just like, boom, that's it.
I've heard that Kevin will text coworkers at night, super late, with like new designs he's come up with. Big nerd over here.
4 in the morning text, look at my new skate. Yeah, all the time.
I mean, you're looking at a super in shape, beast-like man who plays with rocks at home on the weekend,
What Remy doesn't want to tell you is the reason Remy lost his last show, Kevin skate shirtless, so that's what I wanted.
Yes.
He gave him a $150 show.
I've been self-conscious ever since.
Ever since.
I'm on a diet for a year now.
We're ready for a ping pong competition also.
What's that?
Ben and I had a little pre-competition, and we did a little ping pong action at the restaurant last night. It was a little preview for people.
Preview that, who won that? We're not talking about that today?
I mean, it was
We
fun.
We don't talk about Bruno.
We were playing freestyle with doubles, so you can't really say there was a winner.
All services go.
We're really keeping score, which is
Yeah, well, we started initially keeping score, and then we got a little creative, and it was all surfaces go, ceiling, wall, railing, all that like that.
So, Chelsea, Rick brought up a good point that he purchased the skate from you. I've seen that skate on the videos, a very cool little thing. What would you recommend somebody to actually go out and buy a skate from somebody that you have to try to go on their own? Is it worth their time, or is it just whether or not you feel like doing it?
So, it's an investment like anything else in the saltwater aquarium. If you are doing art, if you're not doing it yourself, you're paying for someone else to make an art piece for you. But I think what happens, like I was talking about earlier, is that the coral, you get to a point where now you're growing things, you're happy with where you're at in the hobby, and now your corals are stuck on the rock wall that you put in there when you first invested. So you're buying the rock regardless. I would say, even for newbies, go ahead and invest in something nice. Or, do it yourself. Either way, I think an aquascape is good for newbies. And just go ahead, make the investment. It's like an ATO, it's like getting a nice LED light, get a nice aquascape.
There you go. Let's ask the important question. This one really divides saltwater aquariums. So, prefab fake scapes with like fake coral, or keep it real with like what you're doing here?
They have their place, right? Fish only tanks.
Yeah. All right. Kevin, what do you think? Do you think they have a place? Would you go out and buy a pre-made fiberglass structure to put in the tank?
We actually do, being owner of a retail store, sell a lot of those to fish-only customers. I mean, they are easy to clean, so if you have to maintenance them and pull them out, bleach them, that sort of thing, they're great for that purpose, and they do add some good color to the tanks. A lot of these fish-only guys, they're not going to want to have the tank really well lit and grow coralline algae and all that, so they might just end up green if they didn't have some of those structures that were epoxied and colored and all that. So there's a place for them for sure.
Cool. Yeah, Scott and I were fortunate to go see an amazing facility down in Florida that produces like public aquarium scapes and stuff. Really cool stuff. So let's take a little pulse on where you guys are feeling. Who's feeling Chelsea so far? Who's feeling Kevin? Fairly even. We got one loud roar in front here, so I think that's Steve. All in all, the crowd seems pretty underwhelmed. So I mean, that was the response I got. I don't know if you felt it, but
They're focusing. They're feeling our vibes.
they're taking this journey with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they are kind of looking at the back side of the rocks too. It'll all come together soon, trust me.
It'll all come together.
It's like watching Picasso paints. You know?
16, 17 minutes left. Man, I love when this timer up here. I don't have to pay attention at all.
I think one thing, if you're planning on using this Marco rod, one thing from novice to intermediate is actually like what they did earlier here, where they busted it all up. So I've started doing this, and you can really play with so much more. These are great base rocks. The larger ones are really great for base. The flat pieces have a place too. But when you're over here hammering and chiseling these things, you can get them down to some pretty small, bite-sized pieces. You can do a lot of stuff with that. So take that into consideration. I know my first inclination whenever I see this marker rock is just to kind of stack it on top of each other and see what happens. But you really want to get creative with it. Really move accelerator. Some sand. You can really make a seamless look.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You guys see what Kevin's doing over here. You can actually see some PVC. Clearly, that's not going to be part of the structure, but he's using that to hold these overhangs while they glue it in new sets. So, really smart idea. He's a bunch of different size pieces here, so you can put them up all over the place. Again, I mean, this is the difference between watching pros and Scott. I mean,
All right.
that's all right. So, impressive stuff for sure. All right, let's check in with the crowd. How's everybody doing out here? This long scape, you guys are hanging in there. So, rock. Small rock. Who do you got rock? Well, we got plenty of rocks up here. I don't think any more are going to be used, so don't worry. Our rocks are good one for days. Rocks are heavy as a rock. Yesterday you got corals, today you get rock. Yeah, we got now. We're doing smashing the little pieces, so everybody gets one.
Use more keychain.
There you go. Keychain rock. Maybe you have a winner come up and like sign your tiny piece of rock.
So another thing to consider here is the cube tanks are more difficult for flow.
You're getting all serious. Who brought this guy up?
I'm sorry.
Kevin, talk about tanks and flow.
Kevin, I really want to know on these like cube style tanks, where are you putting your wave makers?
Well, that really depends on the aesthetic you're going for and the type of coral. I mean, I prefer to keep them off the side wall, but it can be difficult to achieve the flow you want if you're doing SPS and things like that. So, you know, in that case, you may put one on the side to get a nice cross flow in addition to the block line that's going to be shooting out.
So the big question for both of you, you're both making these amazing scapes. Are these going to be bare bottom tanks, or is somebody going to put sand in?
Ooh, it's a secret.
Oh, that's the closing, that's the kill move, or a finishing move. That's a finishing move.
That's a time question. How much time do we have?
Oh, you weren't supposed to tell me.
Giving away industry secrets. Come on. Well,
Jazz people.
little rock stone in. What do we got? 13 minutes. You guys are getting down to the wire, so the time goes quick. It's a fast 45 minutes. Chelsea going for the gravity-defying overhand. This guy was talking about Avatar. Oh, here it is. Here's the limit. Let me give you a little encouragement over here, Chelsea. See how that's going to feel around your neck, huh? Oh, yeah, that's it, bro.
That's straight made of pennies.
Yeah.
And now she got it all dirty, so if Kevin wins it, she's like, yeah, screw it, dirty.
I want to, hand sanitizer.
Saltwater Scap Champion of the World, Dallas 2022. Kevin, do you have room to add another piece of hardware to the I mean, your trophy room must be overflowing at this point.
You know, I have to kick out my son, then he might have to live in the garage.
Well, yeah, you got to make decisions about it. So. But how many times have you won the Scape Off contest?
Hopefully 3 after today, but we'll see how it goes.
And then you're also a winner of the frac contest too? Yeah. All the things. World renowned.
I like to think.
World renowned. Here, hold that on.
Thank you.
Let's see, let's get a close up here.
Chelsea, give us some insight into where you're at.
We'll talk to Simon.
How you feeling? Is it coming together the way you hoped it would?
Yeah, I really like the bonsai look and freshwater people that comes from you guys. You were all scaping first, so a lot of inspiration comes from that. The really amazing wood pieces. Yeah, so I definitely like that look.
It's a really impressive shape.
Did you say bonsai?
Yeah. Bonsai.
Wood, bare bottom, lots of
You're the radio
ways
personality.
you can go there.
Did you have a big one to work out?
What's that?
Did you have a little improv thing you want to work out or something?
Oh, no, I got nothing.
Yeah, you should. I'm telling you, workshop in front of these people.
What's your favorite restaurant? What's your favorite restaurant?
Name
We'll
a
start
favorite
with
restaurant.
Applebee's. Okay, thank you. That's it. We'll make a song now. Hit the beat.
Remy's going to workshop some things he's been working on up here. Be kind to him. It's still in a phase. Alright, if you guys haven't got your votes in, keep an eye out. It keeps coming up and down on the screen here. There's a phone number. Vote 1 for Kevin, 2 for Chelsea. And then we'll reveal at the end of the epic battle who the winner and world champion of all times is.
Peter, what I want to know is how terrified would you be even putting this, once you finish it, into the tank? Like for me,
You guys are dropping it.
that's gonna be like the scariest thing. You spent all that time, you needed the most perfect, the best of the best, and now you have to get it into the aquarium.
It's like those cakes that those people make, those giant cakes that take like 10 people to carry, and you gotta get it on the presentation table. So now we got the Scape. The best part would be if you drop it, smash the side out of your tank. Just ruin your whole tank.
This is nothing. I've done some for tanks as big as 800 gallons before. Now those are stressful putting in. A lot of times you need a whole crew just to get them in there, a person climbing inside the tank to bring it down. And very nerve-wracking.
You guys do an 800 gallon. So how long would an individual part of a section of the Scape would be?
Well, I usually do them in multi-rock sections for something like that. So I would say the biggest I go width-wise on an individual rock would probably be about 48 inches or so, max. Those are pretty hard to work with because to make them strong, I mean, I really have to flip them upside down on their sides, put shimrocks in the back, reinforce them with extra glue. I mean, it's quite a process to make these things strong enough so they don't just snap once people put coral in there and start actually working in the tank. So, yeah, it has to be manageable and liftable, but hey, that's why I work out, right?
So after you build this, right, the structure is in the aquarium, water's in the aquarium, the tank's running. Now, because this is all dry rock, how do you do the cycling process on this?
Well, it's an interesting question. A lot of people, they have a lot of these different bacteria that you can put in there. We actually, because we saw a demand for this, started pre-cycling biomedia in a lot of our mature coral tanks. So we do sell that on the website. So if you actually log in, you can buy nanostructures just like this, add mature biomedia that's been cycled for 2 to 3 months to your cart, those bacteria, and really kickstart things right away. We even sell coralline algae and pods and things like that too. So that's another thing I'd recommend using to kind of seed it and just get a little more natural look going on that thing. Faster for sure.
How fast before you put the first corals in?
Some people really push the limits on that. I mean, it really comes down to experience. I say the most experienced people would sometimes even take mature rock from an old system and put a little bit of that in there to speed things up as well. But some people will do it literally the same way they get the rock.
Same thing.
Yep. I mean, you could mature it in a different container And we actually do a lot of ammonia dosing, so to simulate the fish waste and help build that bacteria even faster and at a little higher level. So that way when you got the fish, you don't have to just add, you know, a couple damsels at a time or something like that. You can throw a whole load of them in there much more safely. We're not having to crash out on you.
7 minutes, 20 seconds. Sorry, Chelsea. 7 minutes, 20 seconds, guys. So you're going to start thinking about moving the tank soon. How are you guys holding up out there? Not good, huh? Bring snacks.
I gotta tell you guys though, these skates are super impressive. These are insane.
What was it? What happened when we seen afterwards?
I don't even know if they're selling, but these are definitely the most advanced. I mean, I'm just looking over here somewhere.
Listen, of all the aquascape contests we've done, this is by far the most serious and high quality one we've ever done. Normally these, if you guys haven't seen these before, they're normally like 15 minutes. Usually one of the two parties doesn't really care and just put some stuff in and then stands up here next to them. Yeah, but that's what it did it.
And so Kevin, and it's there.
And then Kevin enters the room.
And then Kevin was like, I'm gonna change it all forever.
Forevermore. So honestly, I mean, this is, you know, a long event for you guys, but you're seeing really professional, crazy results. So you're actually getting a real treat here because this isn't normally how this goes.
Yeah, it's never 45 minutes unless we just want to, you know, challenge ourselves.
Like,
Who wants to do that?
I can't even believe that you built this in 45 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I've worked on that for days, weeks, adding a little by little.
All right, you're under 6 minutes. Under 6 minutes. Rocks galore. Here you go, Rock.
Guys, make sure you guys get your boats in.
Oh, hang on. You get. Oh. Big rock for you. Sweet. Oh, man. Don't push. Don't drop on that girl's head.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I don't know. Enjoy that rock. We appreciate it.
Kevin, when you choose the PVC, are you pre-plumbing that based on the tank? Or do you use that to pick that up?
Yeah, honestly, I have a whole stack of them at home, so you know, depending on the size of the tank and the height I'm going to be working with, you can see it's pretty strong. Yeah, I would go ahead and get those just to prop up the branches. Just like you were saying, the bigger the structure gets, the harder it is to flip and reinforce as it goes. So this gives me a little more set time and I can move faster. Rather than have to wait for that individual glue bond to harden. And if I'm doing some really extreme overhangs, it helps with that too.
Here's the burning question I always ask. Rock first, sand second, or sand first, rock second?
Definitely rock first, sand second. Because the way these rocks are designed, they have the flat bottoms with Marco foundation, which set really well. And then you don't have to worry about any burrowing the fish, shifting it and having things fall or have that fish get crushed by the rock if it did cave in. So, you know, I can put the sand around it and kind of fill the gaps that way, which we'll see me do here in a minute. Nice.
Yeah, we've done this a couple times.
Do you already know in your head what type of corals you're adding to the structure? Is that already pre-planned out?
Well, a lot of nanotank customers, which I would consider this size, would be doing a lot of frags typically. So I wanted to leave a lot of space and real estate for mounting that type of stuff. Because you're not going to see people just take a tank this size and throw a foot size across basketball colony of Ophilia in here. It would just be overpowering. So, you know, I try to create different areas and planes of light for the coral and different areas where they can mount different species too. If you look on the sides as well, I have little low light codes and things like that for mushrooms and stuff like that.
God, you're terrifying me.
And even in the back, a lot of times I like to create little secret areas for stashing things to kind of grow out, or if you have, again, a low light coral or some non-photosynthetics, you can mount them on the ledges and things like that.
You guys are under 3 minutes, 2:45.
Scapes are in the tank. These scapes are... Guys, what do you think of these scapes? Do they look great?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
2:25, folks, getting down to the wire. I can't believe we had 45 minutes and nobody had a snack at all. We're gonna get a piece of candy, we're gonna get a bag of popcorn. What's it do with our drinks?
I was waiting for you to ask for other people's candy.
He's still standing over there. Go get drinks.
This was the most reserved I've ever seen you do. Great job,
You know,
buddy.
hey, it's Sunday. Last night was a late night. And yeah, so I didn't have my A game on. I wasn't prepared for 45 minutes on that.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Kevin, I got a question.
145.
On sand, do you always go for a certain sand, or do you think so?
It really depends on the type of aquarium you're keeping, and the type of flow, and the type of fish as well. And all of those things can be factors. If you're doing an SPS tank and you go with, oolite sand, which is pretty much sugar fine, it's going to end up blowing all over the place once you get that high flow in there. So you have to definitely be careful about that. You would go with something more coarse in that case. If you're doing something real low flow and you want to keep a lot of sand sifting fish and things like that, then you can switch over to a finer sugar sand. But it really just depends on what your goal is livestock wise.
1 minute. 1 minute on the clock. Make your final alterations.
I see we both went through the, Kevin brought his own towel to clean his tank. I'll use a glove.
Alright, I just got official word for the last 37 seconds. Both of these scapes are going to be raffled off today, so if you want a chance of getting one of these when we're done, these are going to be moved to the raffle table with boxes put in front of them, and you can actually try to win one of these scapes. 22 seconds. 22 seconds. Counting down here,
Right
folks.
to the final line.
Final cleaning glasses, we're adjusting sand, we're making final adjustments. Coming up, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands up!
Next up, give me this one.
The sound effect. All right. Woo! That was long, but oh my God, that was legit.
It was.
So, as always, part of this contest is you guys get a chance to present your scape, talk a little bit about the vision, what you're doing, what you've been stocking with, and we'll go to these first, please. Let's see, please take us through your scape and your tank.
Alright, so I did stick with the minimalist bonsai look, but if you guys were watching, I did incorporate a few scapes. I didn't, a few flat, what are they called, Kevin? Shelf pieces, there we go. I did put a few shelf pieces on there because we do need places to mount our coral. So the tricky part about that is combining the two different types of rock, that bouldery look and also that flat shelf rock. You don't want them to stick out, it's got to be cohesive. So yeah, that's what I got.
Kevin, you got to hit your side. How you feeling about it? Tell us about what was going through your head and what made you come out to this.
I think it came out really nice. Like I said, in a cube tank, you really have to look at it from 3 different viewing windows. So I tried to achieve that as far as having shelves and tiering the rock to where it goes up, up, and up in those directions. So a lot of the coral that you mount won't block things that are behind. And I think I achieved that really well for the tank here. And height-wise came out perfect where you can mount stuff where it's not going to be poking up above the water. Lots of swim space and hiding areas for the fish. If you look, there's all sorts of little nano caves that you probably can't even see from out there. But from the side here, I mean, it has a really nice honeycomb look, like a cell look. So I take it. I'm happy to do it.
All right, folks, so voting is done. Let's give a big round of applause to both our competitors up here. Amazing job. Give yourselves a round of applause for hanging out and watching this. But you truly, I joke up here a lot, you truly watch 2 masters doing their thing, and the results are no short of amazing. 45 minutes to get a scape, which most of us, the average person, would take days to even conceptualize or yet glue together and make it in such a manner. It comes down to this, it comes down to one thing only, and that is who the champion is. Is Kevin going to protect his title, or is the newcomer going to unseat the longtime champion and get a, win like a free trip to like the World Finals or something? I don't know what comes out of this aside from the spell. World Finals in Australia.
We're just
Sean,
going
make that
to
happen.
freeze this and let that be Sean's problem.
That's it. Yeah, all right, there you go. I'm going to promise you a trip to Australia for the World Finals. Sean will work on the details. It'll be all good. So without further ado, let's find out who won. Let's count it down.
Wait, are we curious about what the crowd?
No, the crowd already voted.
All right, let's do it.
Do you guys want to do like a, oh, no, they already voted. All right. Or you didn't, or you just stood here and didn't contribute. I mean, you can do that if you want to do that kind of person. All right, let's count it down. In 3, 2, 1. We have a new champion! Kevin has been unseated! What? Thank you, sir. Speech.
Thank you guys for sticking through the 45 minutes. I know it's long out there. Turn it. Got it. I know it's long for you guys watching. It's quick for us. We hope that you guys were able to take something home from it.
Evan, gracious and
Here, stand right here and hold it up to the camera next to your tank.
Saved my life.
And
I'd like to see the next one on the scaper like football. I mean, she did a great job. I can't take anything away from that stuff. It looks really good.
amazing.
it's not like you're competing against like some of the other people that stood for 15 minutes after just putting a stick in the tank. All right, guys, there you have it. We have a new champion. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the rest of Aquashella. Be sure to do that if you want to win one of these scapes.